When I first started, I didn't know anything about the healthcare arena. I didn't know who the players were. I knew that I had a heart and I wanted to do it. People see you at the top. They don't understand those humble beginnings.
Right.
You know, I'm out knocking on doors to the extent I remember, like, I was out of money, like, no money. Like, we're like 6 months in, I'm out there doing this, and so I got a job delivering pizzas at night. This is no joke.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Chris Chan, and today we have a very special episode of the CarePreneur Show, where we talk about entrepreneurship, we talk about the healthcare field and taking care of seniors, and I have an amazing guest, Wendy Rickenbach. She started in the Wall Street world and ended up in 2014 opening up her very own CarePatrol franchise, and she has turned it into the #1 franchise in the entire country, which is an incredible feat. And now she's opening up her very own adult daycare center concept, which is probably one of the most innovative adult daycare programs in the entire country. She's also a nationally certified dementia trainer. She's certified dementia practitioner, a certified care transition fellow, and she's been credentialed in the Montessori programming. And she has so many more probably qualifications than that. So Wendy, welcome.
Yay, baby.
Thank you for joining me today and coming down here. I know it was a little bit of a hike from Sarasota,
thank you.
But I love what you're doing. For those that may not know, in 2014, I met you when you had just started CarePatrol. I mean, literally, you were just getting started. I don't know if you had recently moved down here or if...
I relocated from Richmond, Virginia.
Gotcha, yeah. So you were new to town, you had a new business, and you had burned the ships, you were all in, and there was no going back.
No going back.
But you made it happen, and to be #1 in the entire franchise system is amazing too. So.
Yeah, well, thank you. It didn't come easy, I will tell you. So I don't know how much you talk with your guests about being an entrepreneur, but I will tell you, I've had a lot of people who met me back in 2014 when I was just getting started, like, she's so intense.
I know, I thought it was. It's funny because, like, I mean, I'm sure, like, up in New York, New Jersey, up in the Wall Street world, that intensity is probably more normal.
Right.
But I feel like in sleepy Southwest Florida, like, it's like
everybody's laid back, they're tired, they're on vacation. Yeah. Like, what is she doing? And I talk really fast. They're like, slow down. Slow down. So yeah.
No, it's awesome. So tell me, like, kind of help us understand, like, the journey. Like, how did you go from Wall Street, right, to senior care?
Yeah, so I spent 18 years on Wall Street, and really in '08 during the economic downturn, like many people in America, things were evolving, changing, companies were downsizing, reevaluating, especially in the leadership capacity. I was based out of Manhattan. I had a home in LA and one in Richmond, Virginia, and basically they wanted me in Manhattan full time. And I was single mom raising 2 kids, and that just really wasn't an option. So I opted to, like, just fold in all my chips, was home based in Richmond, Virginia, so we went back there. And really I did a bunch of consulting projects. And I was going to actually go to law school and be a litigator for our firm. I'd sat in thousands of arbitration cases, so I got accepted into law school in Richmond, Virginia, and I was going to go be a litigator.
Like, this was after the Wall Street.
After the Wall Street collapse, and they're like, come back, and I'm like, yeah, okay, this is great, because most people, it's like, all right, if you have to reinvent yourself, if you could pick any career in the world, what would it be? What would you want to do?
Right.
Well, the easiest thing for me to do was just go to law school and be a litigator. I mean, I knew the space, right? And then somewhere in there, I was at some event, and I met a franchise broker. And we met at a Panera, and he was, kind of asking questions, getting to know me.
At this point, did you even know what a franchise was?
No, I had no idea. No idea. I've always been 100% commission. I've never had a normal paycheck. I've always, kind of had to eat what I kill, so to speak, right? And so, he was talking to me, have you ever thought about it? And I thought, gosh, starting my own company just was scary, right? Like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to run a company. I've always worked in corporate America. Like, I helped them run their company. And so he started explaining franchising. And through that, he wanted to do a bunch of assessments. And I'm like, oh, I know how I'm wired up. We don't need to do assessments on me. And he goes, no. These are assessments that when you're this little 85-year-old lady and you're looking back on your life and you're like, gosh, and you want to know what you accomplished, what would that look like to you?
Yeah.
And I sat there and I'm like, I have no idea. He goes, that's what the assessments will help us identify. So we started up, now remember, it's 3 months before I'm starting law school. And so we started on this journey of assessments, and this man had me journaling. I'm like, you're journaling? Like, I'm like this high performer salesperson. He's like, I need you to be more reflective. And he kind of explained what he was looking for me to do.
Yeah.
So here's what I found out about myself. I definitely knew that if I was going to do something, I wanted a recession-proof industry. I know that I'm really good at taking very complex information and simplifying it. Coming from Wall Street, I do very well in crisis. I don't get rattled in crisis.
Right.
That's just inherent of that environment.
Right, right.
The other thing...
Yeah, in Wall Street, you're always in crisis.
You're always in crisis. You live in crisis. I remember I'd walk around with a trash can.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'd be getting sick. The other thing is that I wanted to make a direct impact on people's lives.
Right.
And something that would really influence them. And I was very active in my church. And one of the things I did is I sang in the choir. Like, if anybody in America has been to church, a lot of times it's the older generation that's in the choir.
So, like, is that, like, does that exist in Manhattan?
Yeah, well, I was in Richmond, Virginia was my home base, and then even when I was in LA. So there's a praise team, which is your contemporary service, and then like a choir, right? So I was on both. But the choir was predominantly the older generation. And as a single parent, I had no family around me or anything, but they kind of became my family. And so all of a sudden I had 50 grandparents. And like literally when these guys were going on bus trips or anything, they always wanted me to go. They just loved my energy. I grew up in the Midwest, so we bake. I was always making treats and baking stuff. Like I just loved them. And so I asked the guy, I go, is there anything in the senior industry? I just love working with seniors. Like it's a really happy place for me.
Right.
And
your entire time on Wall Street, like, it's not like you're working with seniors really that much, right? Like, I mean,
no, I was basically, my job was to basically steal financial advisors from other firms and get them to join our firm.
Right. It's funny, it's like two different worlds, you know?
Two different worlds. But there again, remember, so cool. 85-year-old lady looking back on my life. And what did I want to do?
Right.
And that was the whole purpose, is to find that. So they presented multiple franchise opportunities to me, and I was like, nope. And they, kind of like a used car salesman, they're like, don't fall in love with the first one you see, right? Like, let's look at a bunch of them. I'm like, the very first one they showed me was CarePatrol, and everything about it spoke to my heart. To impact people's lives and to make a difference, keep people safe.
And it kind of naturally, like, it falls in alignment with your consulting. I mean, you said you were doing some interim consulting after Wall Street, so it kind of like falls in line with that, like, consulting, because in a way you're kind of counseling families. You are. You're really educating them and giving them options and then helping them facilitate those options. Right? And then if you think about the families we serve in the senior industry, nobody wants to place their loved one in assisted living or memory care. Everybody wants to stay home, right? And because of that, just natural life, people are living longer. They have more complex health issues. They didn't prepare to live this long. I've heard it once, I've heard it 1,000 times. So you're always getting them in crisis. I mean, when you decided to like make this like because obviously you're with CarePatrol now. So you did go with CarePatrol. I did. So but what was that feeling like when you made that purchase, or when you made that commitment to say, hey, I'm going to purchase that franchise? So, the crazy thing is I Googled the #1 seniors demographic in America. It was Phoenix, Arizona, and Sarasota, Florida. So Phoenix is where we're headquartered. And when I came to Florida, I was the very first place to were you coming to Florida because that's where CarePatrol?
I Googled. This is where there was a bunch of seniors. So I literally Googled it, and 3 weeks later I was living in Sarasota, Florida. That's crazy. I knew nothing about Sarasota. So nothing else brought you to Sarasota besides that? Besides that. If you're going to start a business with seniors, go where there's seniors. Literally, Sarasota is like heaven on earth, I feel like. It is. And I wanted to be near water. I love being out boating. And my husband and I, we do a lot of boating. We do diving and fishing. So great place for a lot of that. So they had availability here. And then obviously the demographics made sense. So you came out here 2014 or 2013? 2004. We actually moved in 2013 at the end of the year, and then we started the business 2014. Wow. So tell me, like, when, like, brand new to Sarasota. Oh my gosh. Brand new business. Brand new to healthcare, no nothing yet. Right, exactly. So here we go, entrepreneurs. If you're listening to this is where rubber meets the road. So it's not easy, right? When I first started, I didn't know anything about the healthcare arena. I didn't know who the players were. I knew that I had a heart and I wanted to do it, which is a lot of business owners, right? They're like, oh, I want to help people. Yeah, me too. I want to help people, but I also got to be able to buy groceries, right? And so it wasn't easy. I had to earn it. And everybody kind of had their networks already established. And so how do I become a reputable and creditable resource in the town? And so I just did what I do. I started getting out there, meeting people. The other thing is that when I was on Wall Street, they wanted a bunch of numbers behind your name. Now they want letters. Like, I needed some credentialing in our industry that I actually knew anything about it. And so I started out on this journey. And I will tell you, now looking back, right, and I think I've shared with you in the past, looking back, when people see you at the top, they don't understand those humble beginnings.
Right.
And it's a lot of humble pie, a lot of humble pie. I'm out knocking on doors to the extent I remember, like, I was out of money, like, no money. Like, we're like 6 months in, I'm out there doing this, and no money. And so I got a job delivering pizzas at night. This is no joke. And so I was kind of ashamed of it in the beginning, but it's really kind of speaks to my perseverance and what people that are thinking about owning their own business need to think about. Are you willing to do something like this? So,
and if you're potentially in that situation, don't give up. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's like you may, because I feel like everyone starts out in business with the anticipation that everything's gonna be amazing.
Right.
And then they get themselves into a situation, and it's like they have to climb themselves out of that situation, and it's either like a do or die moment. It's like, like I'm coming to the end of, and it's like that's where it tests that person's like longevity. Like, are they going all in? Are they going to make it through, or are they going to quit?
Well, I always say, in my opinion, this is just me speaking, like when people have 1 foot in and 1 foot out, that's kind of how they perform. But if you perform like your life depended on it,
I'm burning the boats.
Right.
There ain't no going back.
Your family's not going to have food or shoes or a roof over their head, like the basic necessities. You will perform differently than if 100%. You kind of like got a spouse that's got a secondary income, or you're still part-time over here and you're going to tiptoe into this. Just the performance level's different. Not saying it's bad, it's just, it's different.
Yeah, different mindset. There's a sense of urgency. Because it's like, look, I'm running out of time, I'm running out of money. Like,
I literally remember, so my family, none of them are entrepreneurs. My family's farmers. Okay, they're farmers.
Wow.
And
so the farm girl to Wall Street.
So I'm way out of the box for my family. Like, I'm so far out of the box. Like, there's the box.
It's
like,
got to be
some entertaining, family
and
so I remember them like, just get a real job. Go back and just get a real job. And what they meant was go back to corporate America and get that stable paycheck with benefits. And I'm like, no, I just know that I was made to do this. Everything that I've learned, I was preparing myself to do this, and I knew that it was the right thing. So I get this job, and I'm doing CarePatrol by day, delivering pizzas at night, praying that nobody that I was out trying to convince to refer to me would see me delivering these pizzas, right? And about the first month, I'm calling my mom every night. I'm crying to her, like I just couldn't keep the pace.
When we first met, it was at the Panera Bread, and you were clearly hustling back then.
Oh yeah, I had people lined up like every hour, like just meet me at the Panera Bread. Like I was back to back. I had to leverage my time and.
Absolutely. No, but it was cool. I mean, I appreciate that hustle. I mean, you were killing it.
Yeah. So I've been very blessed because I just remember getting the first check, and I'm like, no, that's next month's mortgage payment, and then I got the next check. I'm like, that's 2 months mortgage payment, and I kind of got my family off my back and kind of got them in my cheerleading seat, and one thing led to another, so I didn't know healthcare, but I knew business. And so I've really been able to partner with CarePatrol and really help share with other franchise owners how to monetize their business, how to grow their business, how to hire employees. I was the first person hiring people. I'm like, I need more help.
I know, right? And I'm thinking too, like when you started CarePatrol, how many franchisees did they have?
I don't even know. I can't even tell you.
Was it like it was probably the early inception of it though, right?
Well, no, they've been around, believe it or not, for like 22 years.
Okay, gotcha.
But people come and go because they would hire like when you.
Well, honestly, I feel like you were on the verge of something that like now it's exploded, right? Like the whole idea of placement agencies has exploded, but like I feel like 20 years ago
there was no awareness of it. Nobody knew what they were.
Exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, really just getting in there, teaching them how to monetize the business, build and grow the business, and really make it a viable business, right? That then you can buy and sell it like most people want to do with their business, or if you want to keep it and whatever, like it's an option now.
Sure.
So, but in doing CarePatrol, the biggest thing is that, we only place about 1/3 of our families. So I've got this other 2/3 of my business that needs something.
Right.
And everybody wants to stay home, right? And so I remember going to my husband, and I know the CEO of Town Square, and we were on the phone, and
and so for the people that don't know though, because we're transitioning into like
you guys got to hear about the Town Square,
like this next big thing that she's doing.
It's crazy awesome.
Yes, because you killed it in the CarePatrol thing.
Still doing it. It's still thriving. We're growing it at anywhere from 20 to 40% year over year. So it's doing well.
And you've won tons of awards.
Tons of awards. I think they just make up awards, and at this point, my kids are like, I think they're just making up awards to give you one. But
But then through it though, you start like, so what, for those that don't know, I know we kind of alluded to this. Wendy's opening up this incredible adult daycare program. Yeah, this is like stage 2.
This is like we need something more. So it's a 12,000 square foot facility, 1950s themed adult daycare, and 10 working storefronts. I mean, literally, if you can think sort of like that Disney Main Street USA,
Yeah,
this is 1950s Main Street USA. And what we're doing is that it was really designed around people that were cognitively impaired, although you don't have to be cognitively impaired.
Right.
But what they've found is that because the brain's working backwards is that their memories are most prevalent when they were working, raising their families, which takes us to the 50s.
What made you like decide, like, hey, like what even inspired you to look into it? You know, like, I mean, because I mean, I get, like, I know you were saying earlier with families and stuff like that, like, you know, 1/3 of them you're placing, the other 2/3 you're like
something. They want to stay home, right? They want to stay at home, but how do you support the caregivers, support that individual?
Was that like what kind of inspired you to look at other options, or?
So it was really, believe it or not, in business, things just happen randomly sometimes. So I know the CEO, and he had reached out. He goes, "Hey, Wendy, I'm looking to buy this concept." And there again, I've become sort of known in the industry, and he lives in Sarasota. I live in Sarasota, so people in Sarasota know me. And he said, "I'd love for you to check into it, check it out, and tell me what you think."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, okay." You know, and I looked at it, and I thought it was almost too good to be true. And he said, "Well, why don't you and your husband come down and take a look at it?" Because the nonprofit that they bought the rights to franchise is based in San Diego, California. And there's an Alzheimer's research facility there, very comparable to our Ross Camp in Sarasota. And so I went down and I saw it. And I wish somebody would have caught me on camera in that moment, because I'd watched the videos, I read the website, you know, and I get in there, and literally I walked in the door, and of course all the senior executives are, we're their very first franchisee recruit, right? So they're all showing up in their suits, like, you know, we got to impress her, and we're going to do the tour. And I walked in, and I just started to cry. I literally became every time I tell the story, I get emotional, even when I tour my own place, because people were so happy. And they weren't there because someone moved them there, or because they had to be there. They were there because they were being stimulated and engaged. They had purposeful and meaningful programming. I saw caregivers dancing and laughing and smiling. Like, it was literally the happiest place on earth for seniors.
100%, yeah.
And I just, like, I knew, and my husband, because, you know, if anybody has a husband out there, you're going to hear me right now. My husband, I said, I don't
have a husband.
Yeah, you are a husband. But I'm like, I don't think I went big enough with CarePatrol. And he goes, what? I go, I think we need to do something bigger. And of course, like a good husband, he's like, how much? How much? And I go, don't worry about the money. Don't worry about the money. And I go, money's only a concern in the absence of value. And he goes, don't Wall Street me, Wendy. You know, and so I go, let's just go look at it and see what you think. And he goes, and he kept saying, how much? How much? I go, everything. He goes, how much is everything? I go, everything we own and then some. It means everything back on the line and everything we don't even have yet on the line.
This is back to the pizza days.
Yes, I'm like, how do you feel about me delivering pizzas? So, but when we walked in and he saw it, and he saw me respond to it, he leaned over and he whispered, he goes, you can buy it. And I thought, okay. And so I looked at the CEO, I go, we're in, but I don't want one. I go, how many of these can I get? I said, I want everything from Sarasota to Naples. I want it all. And he goes, how about you get one open? I go, no, I want them all. So that's really
determined.
been
You're determined.
So it's really been the evolution, you know, 8 to 10 programs every hour. And we subdivide people based upon where they are cognitively, not where they are physically. So if you're independent, you're going to be grouped with peers that are independent, and our programming is going to be geared toward you. If you're moderately functioning, same thing, and if you're lower functioning, same thing, so that we can really engage and stimulate you. I want you to think like high school, 45 to 50-minute class with a 10 to 15-minute changeover, and one of your classes is lunch. That's what's going to be happening in our facility all day long. And lots of happiness. I'm hoping we have lots of dancing and singing and smiling and hugs, lots of hugs.
I love it. I love it. I mean, it's so cool, because like when you were sharing like your experience when you saw them, you know. Like, I mean, that's why I fell in love with it. Like, it's like, it's just,
it's my drug of choice.
It's like,
literally,
because I look at, like, you know, assisted living and home care, they have a place, meaning they're necessary, right? It's more of a need out of necessity, and the adult daycare space is this cool environment that it's like, it gives people a reason to live. It gives them a sense of purpose and a sense of meaning again in their lives, when otherwise they might not have that. And so at the same time, you know, like it can, you know, provide that safe, supervised environment for their loved one. But it's giving them a second chance at life, and it's giving them kind of a, you know, just a reason to get up in the morning. You know, like at 80, I always think about that person that get 90 years old, waking up, looking like at the TV, all of his friends are passed away, or her friends are like passed away. She's got, you know, they have nobody. Maybe they have their family, maybe they're out of town. It's like, what's the point anymore, right? Because like, you know, we're all social beings. Like, and I think we all learned this through COVID, is that, you know, we need to be around other people.
We do.
And,
we do.
And so it's all, I mean, what you guys are doing is awesome, girl. It's like
off
the whole nother level.
Well, stay tuned, because I've got another iron in the fire that over the next couple of years I want to roll out, because I just, you know, I tell everybody my goal is not to be super successful and make a bunch of money. I just want to make enough that I can do the next thing to serve people and let God worry about the rest. Right?
Exactly.
That'll all take care
100%.
of itself. So the more I keep doing for people, the more it keeps coming back.
Well, and I think that, you know, that's that entrepreneurial itch too. Is like when you can see the difference or the impact that you might make on someone. And then, like, you know, and you think about, okay, well, how do I make it a bigger impact and a bigger impact? And it's like the evolution of just, you know, the craving of doing more and being and being able to like help others experience what you know is going to be good for them.
There's just got to be a better way to care for people, and I think that you're included in this, right? You're part of this journey. You're going to be part of the story.
I'm adult daycare's biggest advocate, man. I love it. I love it. Like, it's my favorite. It's my favorite type of service, you know, that we have to offer. So.
You know, I call it my mission field, right? I just get to go in and just, I always say love on people, right? We just get to go have fun.
I know. It's in the assisted living facility. They got to worry about laundry, and they got to worry about this, they got to worry about all these other things, like housekeeping.
Engaging and fun.
Right? Like, all we got to do is worry about having fun, you know?
Just fun.
Like, just keep everyone smiling and laughing and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
so I just tell everybody, though, you know, if you're thinking about being an entrepreneur, it's not for the faint of heart. And your heart can be the biggest heart on the planet, and you want to help people. But you've got to stay in the game. You got to have hustle. It's not about working hard. It's about working hard and working smart at the same time. You've got to build the relationships, and it doesn't come overnight, right? It's a journey.
Yeah. How long did it take you to get like CarePatrol at a point where you were like finally like I don't know if we'll ever say as entrepreneurs that we made it, because we're always like making it, but like, was there a point where you're like, you know what, like we got there, like, you know,
It was about 4 years ago. So I got remarried, my second husband, about 5 years ago. And I never took vacations. I never took breaks. Like, I was literally just 7 days a week. And he stepped in. He goes, "You have got to slow down." I'm like, "Oh no, if I don't do it, nobody." You know. He's like, "You have like the most amazing people." So it was about 4 years ago that I think I finally was able to breathe and say, "Okay, what's next on the horizon?" And so we just keep growing and doing all the right things.
That's
and
awesome.
Now the next right thing. So.
Right. No, it's awesome. But that allowed you to make that decision to move on to like another, like to be able to continue maintaining one thing while also pursuing your next thing.
We've been on this journey with Town Square for the last 2 years. So it's been 2 years in the making.
Well, I feel like for everyone's sake, 2020, that was just a forgotten year.
Like, we had to put the brakes on. I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen.
I was like, I was telling Dre something earlier. I was like, yeah, that was about 2.5 years ago. I was like, well, it was really a year and a half ago, because 2020 doesn't count anyways.
It doesn't count. It's okay. Well, listen, thank you.
No.
Oh, no, go ahead. Were you going to say something?
So just in case, you know, because we'll probably air this soon.
Okay, yeah.
So I want to say, like, if people do have that opportunity, how can they come and visit and be part of maybe the pre-tour or the grand, grand pre-open?
So we're actually touring right now. So anybody can come. We're accepting memberships. And we're located in Palmer Ranch. If you go to townsquare.net, you're going to be able to find where we're located, find our phone number, come on by, drop in. We've got our full leadership team there. We're also going to be having our grand pre-opening on November 30th and December 1st.
Awesome.
And it is ticketed, but it's free tickets, and it's just so we can control the crowds and make sure we have plenty of food and all that other stuff.
Absolutely. That's awesome. It's fantastic. And if you haven't seen it, you got to go see it.
You got to see it. It's
like,
there's nothing like it.
It's just even amazing seeing it as it's coming together. I know I got a little sneak peek with Michael that one day, and it's just amazing seeing it all come together. It's really awesome, you know. So I'm super excited for you, girl, and I'm excited for what it's going to do for the industry, you know, because it's really going to help kind of like level up an industry that has been, you know, like I feel like adult daycare has never served like the middle class.
Right.
You know, there's never been a program out there to serve that middle class like nationally. You know, like, you know, middle class America that like maybe can't afford 24/7 home care, maybe doesn't have the luxury of like, you know, moving into an assisted living facility and paying $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month for, you know, for 10, 15 years at a time. But like, you know, they need a little bit of help taking care of mom and dad, a little bit of help, with their loved ones, and they need it like, a couple times a week, or, and, during the daytime hours so they can still live at home. It's a perfect solution.
Perfect solution.
So I'm excited for you, girl.
Oh, thanks.
It's
All
awesome.
right.
It's
Well, thanks
awesome.
for having me.
No, thank you guys so much. And if you haven't already, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, show some love. And it's time to get back to work. Hey guys, thank you so much for making it this far. If you'd like to watch last week's episode, click here. If you'd like to watch more exciting content on senior care, click here. If you'd like to learn how to open up your own adult daycare, assisted living, or home care agency, click here, chrischanna.com. This is for all those senior care entrepreneurs out there. And let's get back to work.